All right, guys. So obviously the other video on my channel was a complete joke. So I'm actually going to give a little bit of, pros and cons and everything that I've had so far with the Bezzera BZ13. Totally awesome machine. Really, really, really good heat exchanger. Heats up super incredibly fast. One of the first downsides related to the heat up is the group head gets ridiculously hot. So definitely try your best not to touch it. And the joystick, little handles here, the little assembly that holds them in there gets incredibly hot as well. So be aware of that. That's really the only thing. The sides of the Bezzera can get super hot too. Not so hot to where you can't touch them, but definitely very, very warm. Probably a good 80, 90 degrees if I had to guess. But these contact points on the joysticks will definitely burn you. So will the group head, will absolutely burn you. So things to be aware of. Those are really the only cons. I guess you could talk about the pre-infusion or lack thereof of being a con, but it's really not that huge of a deal. What is nice about the group head getting so hot is your portafilter will get nice and toasty, super toasty, real quick. So that part's nice. Let's see here. While we're at that, let's give it a quick little flusherino from what I pulled this morning. All right, so I'm still dialing the beans in for this machine, so, still experimenting. With the cold weather, I've had to adjust the grind, and, it's kind of changed daily. So I'm gonna shoot for 20 grams and see what kind of a pull I can get off of that. So the beans I'm using are the Guatemalan beans from Elevation Coffee. They're local in Colorado, so I like to support local. They're nearby, nice and close. Using a Specialita for the grind. Bam. Let's see what we're at there. 19.5. Hey, you know what? That's close enough for me. I really don't care that much. Boop. I use a jack leveler, specifically, just no tamping or anything. Just get it all up in there. And since there is no in-tank filter option for the Bezzera, I'm going to order one of the Rocket in-tank filters, the resin filters. I'm also using a BWT filter in the tank, paired with, a regular kind of Brita filter or whatever Costco's version of that is, for the water before it goes in. I have really, really hard water here where I'm at in Colorado, so just doing those things to try and mitigate. A tank filter seems to be more than enough, honestly, but I'd like to take multiple steps. The steam pressure is really good. We're going to go over that lastly. I have it set to 195 because that seems pretty dang hot. It's definitely the range I honestly prefer for this blend anyway. Let's see. We'll just bring this in here a little bit closer, Reno, for the pull. Now, this could be a bad pull. I guess we're going to find out, aren't we? Just a little bit. I only use the manual on this machine. I haven't dialed it in enough to really set the single and double shot for one. Never do a single shot anyway, so it's kind of pointless to be on there. If you're looking at the Bezzera BZ13, wholeheartedly save a couple bucks. Get the manual version. I think it's the DM. Just get the one that has the single button, because honestly, you'll probably never use the other volumetric buttons, to be totally fair. So just hit the manual. I'm gonna stop it at around kind of a 1-to-1, maybe 50-60, kind of depends on how much it's coming out here. So this already looks like trash. Yeah, that's a little fast. So the last time I adjusted the grinder, I'm not even gonna drink that. The last time I adjusted the grinder, it was probably 30 degrees colder. Even this morning it was low teens, and now it's like 50. So, yep, that tastes like it looked. Tastes awful. Tell you what, I'm trying to go through these beans anyway, so I'll just give it a little bit finer adjustment. Let's just take it down a whole nother half point here. Get rid of this, do a little flush. Too coarse, definitely too coarse. Clean it out real quick. Give it a little wipe. This is also like my 4th drink today. All right. Pull this stuff back out, put it back on the scale Reno. Put this back over here. Boop. All right, zeroed out. Adjusted the grind a bit finer. Just took it down half a point. One thing with the Specialita is it's definitely sensitive in the micro adjustments. Sometimes I've done a full point adjustment and yeah, see, so like last time it came out to 19.5, now it's at 16. So I only adjusted it half a point. And you can, so just off of that, you can tell it's super sensitive to its adjustments. So now I'm at 19.5. Boom, there you go. So add another 0.3 or 4 seconds. Actually, that was a 1.1. So another second added to it, and that's just by taking it down half a point in the setting. So very, very sensitive. That's also why it's taken me so long to really dial in for this bean, because I didn't realize the adjustments on the Specialita were so sensitive. So we'll try this out. Slap it up in there. See if we get a little bit better with this one. Yeah, and see, so that's how dramatic off of just half of a point adjustment on the Specialita. Like, that's a lot more fine, kind of more-ish what I'm going for. It's still coming out a little quick, but that's a drastic difference than what it was. So I'm gonna stop it at like 40, 45, because I don't necessarily like the way it looks. Honestly, it's okay. I'd probably definitely go a little bit finer again, and maybe even increase the temperature a tad. The problem with increasing the temperature is then it makes it harder for the steaming, just a little bit though. So also, what I do like about the Bezzera is I can lock the hot water. So I like that when I'm making my Americano. I don't gotta sit here and hold it. It's actually a new thing that they changed, because most of their older machines don't lock into place for the hot water for safety. I can totally see why that would be a safety concern. Anyway, the steam pressure is very, very, very good on this machine. Absolutely great. So. I know I'm killing the milk, killing it. Ignore my one-handed. So that right there, actually, as I was doing that one-handed, I had hit the joystick, right? Put it back into the off position and it's stuck. So there's a spot right barely activated where it'll sometimes stick. So I don't know if that's just my machine, have no idea, but be aware. So as I was pulling the jug out and it was, you know, you could see it splash everywhere, it's because of this stuck and it was still putting steam out even though I had to put it back into the neutral position. So that can happen. Just be aware, but you're probably not going to be using one hand to do this anyway, so you won't have that problem. And I'm not doing any kind of latte art. I'm honestly just going to shove it right in there because I'm lazy and I don't give a crap. There you go. Awesome. It's a fantastic machine. Absolutely love it. The heat up time is really why we chose to get this machine. Going from, you know, totally cold first thing in the morning to all the way heated to 195 in 5 minutes. Like 5 minutes, give or take a little bit, maybe 5.5 minutes, but still, that's super fast. That's super fast for any machine, honestly, to come up to temp. If you have your portafilter locked in when you turn it on at the very beginning, not locked in, but you know, it's setting in there, just kind of chilling like that. By the time it hits temperature, your portafilter is going to be nice and toasty. You're going to have your steam pressure and, you know, your hot water ready to go, all within 5 minutes. And honestly, that is my biggest pro about this machine, is the fast heat up time. You know, just if there's a time in the afternoon where I want a little bit extra, I can just toss it on, and by the time I, you know, go do something or let the dogs out, it's going to be heated up and ready to go. And there's something to be said for that quick warm-up time. I think that's a huge, it's actually why I decided not to go for a dual boiler, was because I'm not gonna sit here and wait 30 minutes for the boilers to come up to temp. That's just not what I wanted to do. Yes, it's good for the first thing in the morning. You know, you can set one of those little Wi-Fi connectors and have it ready to go by the time you wake up, but it makes those afternoon drinks or those after dinner drinks much harder to do, you know, because you're gonna have to be waiting 30 minutes. I prefer the kind of go with the flow on the whim, 5-minute heat up time for full pressure and, you know, 195, 200 degrees. I think that's fantastic. Coffee tastes great. Milk is definitely scorched. It's a little hot, probably 160. So anyway, that's my quick little overview. The heating, well, actually, the heating plates here get very, very hot. So I guess my takeaway is a lot of things on this machine can burn you if you're not paying attention. So definitely want to pay attention to what you're touching. So like if you're going in on these joysticks and you accidentally like grab it like that, you're going to burn the inside of your hand and your thumb for sure. So keep your distance. If you're going into the portafilter and, you know, sometimes you might use your thumb here to kind of push it over, don't do that. That'll burn you on any machine, but this one especially because it gets hot so quick. On a normal dual boiler or other machine, you're an E61 group head, you know, you could get away with it right out the gate. You know, you turn it on 5 minutes later, you know, it's not going to be up to temp. It's going to be, you know, lukewarm at best. But this one will burn you straight away. So just be careful with that. This one, the hot water one, will really only burn you after you use the hot water and then it starts getting really hot. Or if the machine's been sitting for a while, sitting on for a while. Oh, don't want to drop that. Yeah, other than that, I mean, it has a really good large capacity water tank, and that's beneficial. I really very rarely have to fill it. I have to fill it kind of frequently just because, you know, I like to play with it because it's new to me. And so I'll make random drinks and everything. Yeah, I know. The steam wand cleaning. Relax. It's not that big of a deal. There you go, see? Nice and clean, nice and toasty. Very responsive steam. All around a fantastic machine. For the price point, you really can't beat it. You know, you get the PID and, oh, did it just zoom in? Yeah, you get the PID and everything, super easy to adjust. It maintains temperature very well. Now, if you're brewing and steaming at the same time, you know, you're gonna see that temperature start to plummet pretty quick just because you're releasing everything. So what I do is I pull the shot and then I do the drink, but you can definitely do both at the same time. But if you're wanting to maintain the temperature throughout the entire shot, then maybe not.